What's up, riders? Today I'll be showing you a basic list of all the tools you should have in your workshop to get started working on your bikes. So let's get started. First off, Allen keys. The majority of bolts on your bike has an Allen key head, so it's a good idea to grab yourself a good set of Allen keys. But even if you don't have a whole set, you should at least have a 4mm, a 5mm, and a 6mm. A multi-tool type like this one here is a good investment because it's easy for carrying around and just to put in your bag, and it's useful as well. Next is pliers and cutters. Not everyone has a whole range of them, but a solid needle nose plier like this one is an all-rounder in the workshop. There's nothing worse than getting frayed cables, so pick yourself up one of these cable cutters as well. I picked this whole setup from a local hardware store and it's doing me just fine. Next we have adjustable spanners and pedal wrenches. I have a small one here for small jobs like lock nuts, things like that, and a big one here for big jobs like bottom bracket and cassettes. And also pedal wrenches are really handy because a normal spanner or something isn't able to loosen a pedal in most cases, so it's really handy to have one of these around. Next is a good pair of vice grips. Vice grips are just like another pair of hands. They clamp things down in place and are really handy if you don't have a bench vise. They're really good at pulling cables and holding them in place as well. Next we have a good ratchet and all the bits. These are the way to go when it comes to delicate parts that you don't want to round off or scratch, and they provide heaps of leverage for those stubborn bolts. And it's good to get a whole set of these as well. Yeah. And for smaller jobs I have a smaller one here with smaller bits. If you ride bikes, we all know how handy one of these floor pumps are, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. A tip is to look for one with a gauge on it, so that you can set precise pressures, and also look for one that has both a Presta and a Schrader valve. Next on the list is screwdrivers. A simple set of flathead and Phillips head screwdrivers can never let you down. They're always good to keep around, and they're mainly used for things like limit screw settings, and it's always good to keep around the house for DIY jobs. Another tool you should be keeping around is a T25 Torx key. Even if you don't have a whole set, a T25 is a must-have. It's mainly used for bolts like disc rotor bolts here, and it's also really handy if you have a cordless drill or an impact driver. Next is a chain breaker. A chain breaker isn't a must-have, but it's always a relief to have one when you need it. This one is a Bursman, and it's a small compact one for easy transportation and keeping in your pocket. And it's really simple to use as well. And it comes with a pin here for putting tension on the chain. The next tool is a shock pump. This tool is only relevant if you have air suspension. As you can see here, the Fox 32 here and the Fox Float RP2 there. This tool is always good to have, so you don't always have to rely on your bike shop to do your sag setting and things like that. And yeah, it's a good investment to make. Next is bike specific tool bits. By that I mean 4 things. 1, a bottom bracket tool, depending on your bike and your bottom bracket. And a crank arm puller, again depending on your bike. A cassette lock nut tool. And a spoke wrench. This one here has all the measurements on it, and these 4 are a really good investment to make, and when you really need it, it saves you pain in the ass. So that is it for this video, riders. I hope you beginners found that useful on just a basic list of all the tools that you should have to get started working on your bikes. And for more content like this, subscribe and like. And until next time, peace out.